Exactly. Okay.
Good morning, Rotary Club of Centennial. Before we get going, would you please bow your heads for a moment of silence for the Broncos? You know, I will let you know, we watched The Voice last night because I just couldn't watch the Broncos anymore. It was absolutely dreadful. Flexter, where are you at? I think you're inspiring us this morning. Come on.
Surprise. So I'm taking my inspiration this morning from John F. Kennedy as we approach the 54th anniversary of his assassination, and also this year is the 100th anniversary of his birth. So he was quite the eloquent speaker, so just a quote from one of his famous speeches. "Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike, that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans, born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and success of liberty."
Yeah, great. Vern, would you lead us in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mary Alice, I believe you have a Rotary Minute.
I do. Sorry. I happened to pick up the annual report from the RI Foundation and thought it was really interesting about the number of grants that they give out. They gave out this past year, and this is the report for 16-17, $101.5 million in grants. $25.5 million of that went to the district grants, and there were 494 of those, and 1,165 were global grants worth $76 million. I thought it was interesting also the division of how that broke down of the global grants. 27 million went to disease prevention and treatment. 18.9 million went to water and sanitation. 10.3 million went to basic education and literacy. 9.2 to economic and community development. 6.9 to maternal and child health care. And peace and conflict resolution got 3.7 million. So next time somebody asks you, what do we do? That's what we do.
Very good. Andres.
Yes, sir.
I think you have the business minute.
I'm supposed to have the business minute today, so good morning, everyone. I'm Andres Osuna. I've been a member of this club for about 10 years. Most of you already know what I do, but just in case, Phil decided in his ultimate wisdom that it would be nice for me to give you a refresher. I work for an international company that does business in Mexico and the U.S. I'm going to talk about the U.S. side, which is the one that I work for. The U.S. headquarters are here in Denver. We're in the construction materials industry. And we have operations in the U.S. in 14 states, all the way south in the border with Mexico at El Paso, Texas, to the north with the border in Canada in North Dakota. We have 4 cement plants and about 90 ready-mix concrete plants, 4 aggregate sites, and a coal mine, and a fairly large transportation company with about 450 over-the-road trucks. We employed 1,800 people, and this year we are expecting to have around $800 million in revenues. I'm the head of planning and administration, which basically means that I do everything that nobody else wants to do. I'm in charge of mergers and acquisitions, post-merger integration, strategic planning, all of that fun stuff, which is really fun. And it's a great company to work for. It's it's actually a public company in Mexico, but it's run as a closely held company. So really family environment. I know the family of the chairman of the board, our CEO in Mexico, and our president here. So it's really a big family. So have a lot of fun doing that.
Right. Good.
Questions? Yes, sir.
Quickly, the difference between cement and ready mix.
Cement is the it's the flour. Ready mix is the cake. So when you see a sidewalk and you say a cement sidewalk, that's not a cement sidewalk. It's a concrete sidewalk. Because cement is powder. Yes, sir.
I don't know whether many people know who Jimmy Hoffa is.
We didn't have anything to do with that.
Jimmy Hoffa's been found as of yet.
No. It should be concrete. Thank you.
Thanks, Andres. I want to thank custodians. Paul, did you set up this morning? And Kathy Smith, I guess, has takedown. Tripp, you did a great job greeting. I appreciate that. Karen, nice job on the inspiration. And Vern, as always, you did a great job on the pledge. Do we have any visiting Rotarians? Jessica Seidner, visiting Rotarian. Thank you. Yeah. And Greg Cottrell, our other visiting Rotarian. Thank you so much for coming today. Our guest, Vicki Latham, where's she at? She's a speaker today, so you'll learn more about her later. So there she is. Angie Osili is right here. She visited a while back, and I believe she's got her application all turned in and ready to go. We're working on that. Thank you. And then Yenny over here is back again. Yenny had committed last year and something came up, so we need to get another application from her, but I think we're going to try and get that done today so that we can consider her at the board meeting tomorrow. So Yenny, thanks for coming back. Appreciate it. Birthdays, Charlie Jackson on the 3rd coming up. And Ryan Weidman from our millennials, he's also on the 3rd. And then Mr. Wexler on the 5th. Mr. Wexler, are you 30 or 31 this time around? 31. All right. Thank you very much. And I don't think we have any wedding anniversaries coming up in the next week. Mr. Eunice, could you talk to us about the business mixer?
Certainly. On your tables, you'll see a flyer. It's for our business mixer. It's a area business mixer that we'll be having at my facility Thursday of next week. So that's the 9th of November from 5 to 7 o'clock. If you would, please RSVP if you're going to be able to show up, and if you're going to bring guests, I encourage that. I encourage you to bring non-Rotarians as well. This would be a good opportunity to see if we can't bring a few more members into Rotary. Invitations have been sent out to 4 of the area Rotary clubs, so I hope we can get some participation from them with Randy's help. So look forward to seeing you next Thursday evening, 5 to 7. There will be some wines, from what I understand, out of Byron's cellar, as well as some beer and some light refreshments. So that's what I'm looking for. Let's see you all show up.
Has Samantha Rowe donated any from the wagon of whiskey?
No wagon of whiskey. I thought I saw some Clydesdales coming down the road, but they weren't. That wasn't it. So.
Okay, all right. Just to let you know that as a backup, she's always got that wagon of whiskey that we can dip into. Mary Alice, could you give us an update on the prime timers?
I can. Actually, I need some help this week with prime timers. On Monday, we are not going to be in town, and I have one of the prime timers who actually has all of our stuff and is going to go over and set up, get the key and get it set up. But I really need a Rotarian to be there with her. We are, according to our grant, supposed to always have Rotarians at any events that we have. So I need to make sure that we have some Rotarian that can be there with her on Monday, and it's from 1 until 3. It's a game day. Is there anybody that can do that? Ann? Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mary Alice. Let's talk about Madagascar for a second. As you know, John McCarty is over there right now. I had received one email from him last week letting me know that he got there safely, but I haven't heard a thing. And I think it was Wi-Fi related till yesterday, and I just got hammered with email after email after email. Do you guys want me to forward his updates to you guys, do a mass email? Because there's a few pictures, and it's actually pretty interesting. So if you don't mind, I'll shoot them to everybody. Okay. But they met with the Rotary Club of Manakara's board yesterday. They exchanged banners, and then they discussed the project. I think tomorrow they'll actually be in the village to start doing some assessments. So things are going well over there. Andrea Tagtow, where are you hiding?
Hello, everyone.
Microphone.
I'm back twice in 1 month. So I wanted to talk to you briefly about our upcoming Legacy Thanksgiving dinner that's happening at the CASA office on Wednesday, November 15th. So for those of you who have been part of Rotary for a while, you might remember this project from years past. Centennial Rotary, I believe this is the 4th year that Centennial Rotary has participated. All of our CASA kids get together on that Wednesday, November 15th. We invite group homes, we invite foster families, we invite some kids who might not be placed with mom and dad, but who are allowed to see mom and dad. So we've got a ton of people that come to our office, about 80 people or so, and we do a Thanksgiving dinner. This is oftentimes the only Thanksgiving dinner that these families get to enjoy together. So that's happening the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and we would like to once again ask if Rotarians would be interested in either helping cook, serve, buy food for it. In the years past, pretty much the whole menu has come from you guys. So it's pretty simple. We only do about 4 or 5 different items, and I'll send out an email later today that includes what those items are and then how much of each thing we need. But it's the traditional turkey stuffing, green beans, rolls, pies, mashed potatoes. I actually think that's what the menu is. But I'll double check before I send that out to you all. And we would love to have anybody and everyone who would like to participate. I can talk to you about whether you wanted to drop the food off at the office earlier in the day. I'm happy to come pick up from your offices. Pretty much our whole staff is just on deck that whole day, running around, picking things up. So if it would be more convenient for you for us to come pick up from you, we'd be more than happy to do that. We also have a new policy in place as of a couple weeks ago where in the past, Rotarians have just been able to come night of, and the more the merrier. This year, we're asking that you please tell us ahead of time. We have to run quick background checks, not just on Rotarians, but on everybody that we have coming into the office. So I'll put that in my email as well. And if you think you might be coming, please let me know, and we'll get that. It takes about 90 seconds for us to run your trails check. Yes? No. Good question. Coming is if you're going to stay and serve. So if you'll remember last year, I think there was probably about 15 or so Rotarians who stayed and served. It's really fun. It's my personal favorite event that we do all year because the kids are so excited. There's a lot of good energy. We'll do some entertainment. They'll do games. They always go around and say what they're grateful for. It's pretty cute, and it's a lot of fun, and it takes a lot of people helping us make this thing happen. So I'll send out an email later today. I have a distro list, and if you have any questions at all, please talk to me, but hopefully we see many of you on the 15th, and thank you in advance for your support and participation.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Trip. Sure. Did you get that one thing cleared up so you can get through the background check?
More than one, I thought.
All right. All right. Just checking to make sure. Mr. Hope, fill us in on the Christmas tree project.
First of all, I thought we had amended the bylaws to not allow the Jacksons to miss anything. weeks, so I guess they're allowed to leave at some point in time. First of all, thanks for everybody's participation in our little children's underwear drive. Mark and I delivered over 300 pairs of new underwear to Integrated Family Community Services last week, so we appreciate everybody's help. We are having our Christmas tree giveaway committee meeting today, and we're going to firm up some additional details. And so hopefully by next week, we will have some definitive instructions and sign-up sheets in place for everyone in terms of what we need for you to do, where to be, what time. Again, the event is December 10th, is a Sunday, and that will be the actual giveaway. December 9th is a Saturday, and we will be meeting at the Arapahoe County Library District main office to put together the Christmas ornaments and packages. We'll need some help at that time as well. So we will have more instructions and suggestions, and I think we do have enough ornaments lined up, so whatever everybody can gather would be great. I spoke with my new hero, Kevin Gurley, who is the manager at Home Depot, and they have committed to at least 45 real live Christmas trees.
Really?
So we're on our way to getting. We're looking for needy people right now, so we'll solve that problem. So anyway, so we'll let you know next week.
All right, good. Thanks, Ken. Does anybody else have any announcements? Phil, you're raising your hand back there. Well, you're needy in a different way. No other announcements. Travel gifts. Do we have any travel gifts? No. Mike Ober was supposed to do Happy Bucks. I don't see Mike Ober. Jay, what are you doing? Oh, wait, no, you're sick. You want to do Happy Bucks? All right, Jessica, tear it up. Look at her.
You step it up.
Woohoo. So grab a mic.
Here, use this one.
Okay.
And then see Barb if she has any blue, or David, any IOUs.
Okay, we're going to start with Trip because he's got money. I can see it.
Here's $1. I wanted to wish everybody a happy Halloween and to thank Jessica. She's letting me tear up her master bath in her home. I haven't told her yet, but there's an additional charge to put it back together. We're getting into that later.
He's so funny. Okay. Randy.
I'm still climbing out of the $100-something I can.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything.
That's no hill for a climber.
Happy? You're good. Welcome. We're so glad to have you. Any other Happy Bucks here?
There's one.
Okay, we've got 2. You're really happy.
Oh, I have several. Number one, I hope we didn't pay him any money yet. Only money due on completion, I hope. I'm happy to see you today, Jessica, and I'm happy to see Andrea, who's going to come to our Christmas tree committee meeting today. Thank you.
I have $1 for the guest that is here that has delivered over 500 babies.
Wow. That was just yesterday.
Okay, moving on. Anyone happy at this table? We've got a few. Sheriff.
This is for Kathy, who dressed up for Halloween, and I asked to borrow her hat, and I think it looks pretty good, quite honestly.
Did anyone get this as a picture? That's the question.
I'm not sure that picture should go in.
Right.
Email blast.
It's in the archives along with one of the pictures I didn't think of.
Oh, great.
Anyone else here? Yes.
I'm happy to share my hat.
Thank you.
I have $1, and I'm happy. I picked up my daughter last night. She returned home safely from Mexico.
Yay.
Okay, moving on to this table. Hello.
I just wanted to, I'm happy to be back. I missed Nepal already. I had a great time trekking in the Annapurna Sanctuary, and I survived driving on the roads there, which is a lot like India. I think you play chicken all the time. And our bus driver missed trucks by about 2 inches, I swear. So it was great fun. Got to ride some elephants in Chitwan National Park, and drove around Kathmandu and got to tour the city. So it was a good trip.
Nice travel gift.
It's coming.
I have three. The first one is for Charlie. Happy birthday. The other two, one is for the Broncos. One's for the Broncos. Fun until the end. It sucks, but fun until the end. And the last one is for, even in the middle of football season, a lot of people complain that there's still baseball going on. But I love baseball, and it's been a great World Series. So the last one is for the Astros. I hope they take the pennant home today.
I have $1 because the last 2 drawers for my kitchen cabinet upgrade finally arrived and were installed, so I can say finito to that project and then move on with my life.
I know, Tripp, is that you? Is there anybody else at this table? No one? Okay. Moving on. Here you go. Oh, you've got a mic.
Yeah. We have $20. The first 18, the house was on the market for 18 days, and we ended up with 2 contracts. So we took the all-cash one. No financing contingencies, so fingers crossed with inspection tomorrow. The other $2 is a couple of weeks ago I facetiously said we had 11 more games that we could lose. Since we have lost 2 of them already, I would like to do penance, so the $2 are, please stop this losing.
This is for Charlie on his birthday.
This is for Jessica.
Oh.
I'm so glad she's back here.
Thank you. Oh, no problem.
And these 2 are in advanced celebration for the preschool Halloween party that I'll be attending with Parker and Charlie this afternoon.
That's yours. You can keep that. Anyone else here? No. Okay, moving to this table. I feel like there's a lot of happiness here. Am I right? No, I'm not. I'm off. What? What about here? Okay, thank you for rescuing me.
There's $2. One is Happy Tuesday. The second one is a request. My wife has this huge big box of Avon women's cosmetics, and she's no longer selling it. And she asked me yesterday, is there a group that she can donate that to that would use that, like a women's support center or a safe house or something? If anybody knows of a good place to donate cosmetics, let me know or send me an email, and I'll tell her to get rid of it out of our basement.
Thank you. Hi.
I've got $1, and it's for Ray back there. I'm glad to see he made it back. Ray is my daughter's neighbor, and while Ray's got 1 son and 2 daughters, my daughter has 4 sons, 12, 10, 8, and 6. And Ray, if you ever came over to the neighborhood and went in the green patch, you'll find Ray out there with about a dozen young kids playing football. And I sit back in the armchair and look out the window and admire him. So we're sure glad you got back, Ray.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I had a glorious opportunity yesterday to visit the Big Toolbox on Holly, just north of C470, and ask them if they would help us with our Christmas tree giveaway and provide a box truck so we could distribute our Christmas trees. And I have to tell you, I received an unbelievably warm reception that they're going to get back to us by providing that box truck tomorrow. But as you frequent the location, I might encourage you to thank them in advance and remind them that we are all Rotarians and they are in our territory.
That's smart. Anyone else? Okay, did I miss anybody? Okay.
No, I've got. Indeed, I owe you. Please, I owe you. You'll get this down.
I know. It's a lot of coordination.
Cool. All right. I've got two. First is I'm a National League guy, but I cannot root for the Dodgers in any way, shape, or form. So go Astros. Second is I've had a lot of questions about Karen after her surgery. Things are going extremely well. This knee went much smoother than the one last year, even though the arthritis was much worse. She's already up and about. She's gotten rid of the walker. She's threatening me with her cane daily. So she's doing really, really well. So that's my two happy bucks. Mr. Wexler, would you like to introduce our speaker?
Yes, this is Vicki Latham. I've known Vicki for about 6 years. I'm surprised she still talks to me, but she's, pardon? Okay, well, some of you still talk to me anyway. She's a graduate of the Oklahoma Health Science Center and is currently a physician's assistant with 36 years experience in both traditional and integrative medicine from 1981 to present. There's a whole lot of stuff I can say here. In fact, I will. She's internal medicine, private practice, Stillwater, Oklahoma, 9 years. Women's health, private practice, Stillwater, Oklahoma, OBGYN, 5 years. Women's health practitioner at Oklahoma State University for 9 years. She's developed a passion for helping diabetics, which you're going to hear about, working adult medicine, emergency department for the U.S. Indian Health Service, Hastings Hospital in Tahlequah, Oklahoma for 3 years. New Mexico licensed midwife. She's delivered over 500 babies in Las Cruces Birth Center in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Toxin Clear Health Network founder, helping people to avoid the detrimental health effects of environmental toxicity and to optimize their microcirculation. You'll hear a lot about that. Lectures throughout the United States, Canada, and internationally on many health issues. She's writing a book currently, 5 Keys to Optimal Health, Powerful Yet Simple First Steps to Begin Your Health Journey. Vicki lives in Lakewood, and here she is.
And he left off the best part, which is that I have 4 children and 8 grandchildren. And praise God, they're all healthy, so it's a blessing. Okay, I guess I need that. Okay, I hope you've got your roller skates on. I actually am going to do this in 20 minutes to 25 at the most, as long as you don't interrupt me or ask me questions. But what I would really like you to do is I've got on the tables a summary for you to take home, and I apologize. I've done a lot of Rotaries. I've never been to one this big. Most of it's about 20 people at the most, and I only made 20 copies. So you can spread them around, and on the back here, I've got some more information about some of the things I'm going to talk about. And if you'll give me your name and email, if you didn't get a copy, I will send that to you, because you don't have to take notes, because everything that's really important in there is going to be in those notes. If you are from the South Central or Southeast, like I am, growing up mostly in Oklahoma, you've had some person who loved you who said, "Get over here, honey, and give me some sugar." right? So sugar is the thing that in our mind represents the really sweet moments of our lives, you know. And even as a diehard Bronco fan since 1969, we have had sweet moments. We really truly have. So it's just not so sweet right now. But so as I began to work with people who are diabetic and interviewed them, what I have found is that when a person finds out they have diabetes, and I say, so what is diabetes? At least 9 out of 10 people are going to say, it's this disease I now have because I ate too much sugar and I can't eat sugar anymore. And that's what most people think it is. They just think it's a disease where you can't eat sugar anymore. And actually there are many reasons that put us all at risk of diabetes. So we did all that. Diagnosis of diabetes has tripled in the last 20 years. It is not an old person's disease like most people think. In fact, only 37% of people with diabetes are over the age of 65. And here's another kind of shocker, is that the highest ethnic gender group with diabetes are African American females and Asian males. That was a big shock for me. And then there's the disposition of groups that have diabetes. So I'm going to go over 10 reasons why people get diabetes. It's not just because you ate too much sugar. Number one is stress, because we are so overworked, overcommitted, continually distracted, that we are in a fight or flight mode all the time. And this causes us to release a hormone in our bodies called cortisol. Cortisol increases our blood glucose. It really messes up our thyroid, which really controls our energy levels and has something to do with how we control sugar. It causes weight gain. It decreases the transport as it affects our cardiovascular system. It decreases the transport of nutrients across our cell membrane and the removal of toxins for our body, as our bodies are not delivering the groceries to our cells and not taking out the trash. The stress increases our risk for many illnesses, but diabetes is huge. So these hormonal imbalances that we think of can be caused by elevations in our blood sugar, but even and low insulin secretion and insulin resistance. And if you want to know if you're diabetic, you don't actually have to poke your finger and check your blood sugar. All you have to do is take a waist to hip ratio measurement. And if it's greater than 0.8 for women and greater than 0.9 for men, you are most likely either diabetic or pre-diabetic. So you just divide your waist, your hips by your waist, and so if you've got a 28-inch waist and 36-inch hips, you're good. But if you've got a 48-inch waist and 36-inch hips, you're in big trouble. So we want to check our hormones. These are some tests that you should get from your doctor, including a blood glucose test. Now, just a little physiology lesson. What happens is on our cells, we have these receptor sites for insulin. Insulin is released by our pancreas, and it attaches on these receptor sites, opening what's called glucose channels, so that the sugar that we eat, which comes from anything that is a carbohydrate, even broccoli gives you glucose. But of course, we usually think of what we call our high glycemic carbs, like bread and pasta and potatoes and sugar in all forms. But anything that you eat that is a carbohydrate is going to turn to glucose. The problem is how fast it turns to glucose, how much glucose it takes, and how much insulin your body has to match with that. So when you eat bread, your body has to kick out a lot of insulin to deal with the amount of glucose that's in that. And it turns to sugar really fast. But if you eat broccoli or something that's high in fiber, or beans, they take a really long time to turn to sugar, and hopefully you will have moved around a little bit and burned off some of that sugar. So it doesn't take very much. It still takes insulin, but doesn't take much. So here's a scary fact. By the time you have an abnormal fasting glucose test, you will have already lost at least 40 to 50% of the functioning of your pancreas. So one of the tests that doctors will do is you'll go in for your annual and you'll have a fasting glucose and it'll be normal. And every year you go and it's normal, it's normal, it's normal, and then the next thing you know, they're going, oh gosh, this year you're diabetic. How did I become diabetic? Well, because you've been becoming diabetic for the past 10 years. Maybe your waist to hip ratio wasn't too good, and you haven't tested. So I really think that this is really an inadequate test, and I think us as practitioners have really failed people. At least every year you should have a hemoglobin A1C, which is going to tell you how your body has been handling glucose over the past 3 months, and a 2-hour post-glucose challenge. And in the information there, I showed you how you can do it at home. So if you can't get your doctor to run a 3-hour glucose test on you, you can do it at home yourself, and its instructions is in that. Now, cardiovascular inflammation is a major cause that sets us up for diabetes, because it starts as a microvascular disease and then later over time affects our larger vessels. This is a picture of, and it's not showing really well, but these are our, is what the doctors can see from an angiography of blocked blood vessels in your heart. But this is that same heart showing the blockages that are happening in the capillaries, where your capillaries are not being able to deliver what it needs, which creates more inflammation in our major vessels, which is what we see. So we have to think of not just our large vessels, but our small vessels. Another thing is lack of exercise, because our heart is a muscle. It needs frequent workouts, and exercise makes our body use the glucose that we eat from the carbohydrates that we get. So it takes it out of our blood and puts it into our cells, feeds our mitochondria so we can make energy and feel good. We need glucose. We can't exist without glucose. It's just that we don't need as much as we get in a Twinkie. So we also have our lymph system. We have 4 times more lymph fluid than we have blood. And so whenever we move, we make our lymph fluid as our flow. As we contract our muscles, this is what moves the lymph fluid, lymph channels. And why that's important is because our lymph is what carries our macrophages, our killer T cells, all the things that go in our body seeking out viruses, bacteria, funguses, and cancer cells and destroying them for us. Every day we get abnormal cells. Cancer is an abnormal cell that doesn't know it is, because if it knew it was, it would self-destruct, or the body doesn't recognize it, because if the body recognized it or had the immune fighters to go get it, it would kill it off every day. So it's a failure of these systems when we get cancer. Then we have our toxic chemicals that are changing our epigenetics. Who knows or ever heard about epigenetics? Oh my gosh. Okay, this is an entire lecture. Invite me back. Okay, so toxins go where the air blows and the water flows. It does not care about your nationality, your religious beliefs. It doesn't care. Mercury is going to be in every piece of fish you eat. It's just going to be there. So the CDC stats are that we have over 200 chemicals stored in our fat, bone, and other tissues, and it is wreaking havoc with our health. And we just can't always avoid it. There's over 80,000 chemicals that we can have potentially exposed to that our grandparents were not exposed to. Our bodies are trying to figure out what to do with this stuff. And less than 1% have ever been tested for safety. And the responsibility to prove they're bad is not in the people who make them, but the people who get sick from them or use them. And so how do toxins relate to diabetes? Well, many toxins can fill the receptor sites for insulin and prevent the insulin to get into the cell. Remember the little receptor sites that have to open the glucose channels and bring the glucose inside the cell? And so anytime you eat any food from a can, you are getting a chemical called BPA. BPA has 2 favorite receptor sites in your body. One is insulin receptor site, and the other is your testosterone receptor site, men. So just eating food out of a can actually increases your risk for diabetes. So things like phthalates that are found in many plastics and skincare also has an affinity for insulin receptor sites. Many people have been exposed to Agent Orange and has given diabetes and neuropathy to millions of Americans. Eating any food containing nitrates like ham and bacon, all the wonderful things we had this morning. Those nitrates actually increase your risk for diabetes, and if you eat it in pregnancy, it increases your risk for diabetes, for your child to have type 1 diabetes. So there's many other toxic and hormone altering, we call them endocrine disruptors, that are in our environment now that are increasing our risk for diabetes. And how it's mainly affecting us is through this amazing new science that's been out now only about 15, 20 years, and that they began to really learn about this. And that is out of the National Genome Project. They were expecting that we had millions and millions of genes. So it turns out we have about 20,000 genes, 20 to 25,000 genes. But every one of them is capable of thousands of epigenetic expressions. And these are the proteins that our genes create that give the code to our cells as to what to turn on and what to turn off. And all of them are vulnerable to toxins, industrial ones, pesticides, heavy metals, and also malnutrition. Those are the two biggies, malnutrition and toxins, that are affecting the expression of our genes. And also viruses, funguses, and some medications, particularly if you aren't learning about this, you should. Folic acid, a chemical that they put in all of our bread now, at minimum 75% of us cannot metabolize folic acid. So they're putting that in there, and it's causing a lot of problems. So a lot of people who think they actually have problems with the bread, it's not gluten. It's the folic acid chemical that they're adding to it. So, and you should learn about it. It has to do with the MTHFR gene, and you can learn about that. But here's the good news today, this take-home message, is that our genes don't change, but our epigenes do. And diabetes is not genetic. It is epigenetic. It has to do with the changes that have been happening because we've eaten too much sugar, we eat the standard American diet, way too much sugar, way too many carbs, and we eat too many chemicals, we don't exercise, and all of the things I'm talking about. So, and these epigenetic changes can be passed at least 5 generations. So the one thing we all got from our mom were her toxins, and we all got from our parents the epigenetic changes that have happened from their poor diets that got passed on, their chemical exposures that they got. And so prediabetes can start before we're born, but it's not genetic, and you can change it. You can change it by making lifestyle changes. And I love this picture. This is from Life magazine in 2010, Why DNA is Not Your Destiny. This is an Asian male who married a Swedish woman. That's his son who married a Swedish woman. That's his son, who's a Swedish little guy. So we went from an Asian male to a little Swedish blonde-haired, blue-eyed child. This is not genetic. This is epigenetics. So that Asian male could be your mother who had diabetes, and you could be this child, and you do not have to have diabetes. You can change. So there's various medical conditions. The one I really want to point out is periodontal disease. People don't think about having poor teeth as a risk factor for diabetes, but it is. The only true genetic predisposition that I could find is Down syndrome for diabetes. Next is poor blood flow and decreased cellular nutrition, inadequate detox. We're not delivering the groceries, we're delivering the Twinkies, we're not delivering broccoli, and we're not taking out the trash. We're not getting those cells cleaned out so that the epigenetic expressions that they have can be more pure. We have over 100 trillion cells in our bodies. They're fed and cleansed by this transport system. We have about 73,000 miles total of blood vessels, and about 62,000 of them are our microvessels. 74% of the time, our blood is in our microvessels, not in our arteries and veins. And our capillaries are so important because that's where all the action is. That's where our body delivers the nutrients and the oxygen. We do not deliver any oxygen to our body in our arteries. We deliver it in the microcirculation. It's so important. So we deliver that to the cells, and we take out the carbon dioxide and the toxins. So it puts in the good stuff, takes out the bad. Anybody recognize this? Close. I just got back from Budapest a couple of weeks ago, and I went there for a medical convention on the microcirculation. So for years, and when I went to medical school, they told us that the heart did it all. The heart actually does that little beat, and that pushes that little tablespoon of blood all 73,000 miles back to our heart. Now, does that even make sense? But that's what we were taught in medical school, and that's what you're going to find at least 90% of all doctors still believe, is the heart does it all. As it turns out, it's not just our heart beating. It's actually our capillaries that moves it. And how does it do it? As we move through the magnetic field of the earth, the magnetic field creates its static. We move through it, and as we move through it, we create a tiny little charge. The earth creates a charge of 35 to 65 microteslas, and our movement through it then creates a tiny little charge that stimulates some biochemical responses, primarily nitric oxide, not nitrous oxide, laughing gas, but nitric oxide. And this nitric oxide then stimulates a movement that begins to move the blood flow through the capillaries. The man who discovered this, his name is Rainier Klopp, and I got to hear 3 hours of him lecturing. 20 years ago, he discovered that this blood flow in our capillaries happens because of our movement through the magnetic field. He named this capillary movement vasal motion, and it's not the same as our pulse. It's an autorhythmic process in our body. And our blood flow must move at a rate of 800 millimeters per second to be optimal. We got some fast flowing blood in there, man. That's fast. And any vessel that's at 80 mils is an occluded vessel. And chronic stress, back to stress, kicking out lots of cortisol, all that is very harmful to this process. So here we're going to, you're going to do that. I'm going to show you, oops, we got to need to go back one because this is the good blood flow. And we're looking, yeah, go back one. I need to go. I can maybe do it. Can you go back one slide? All right, sorry. Just go back one slide. Yeah, okay, okay, go ahead and click on that. Okay, so this is blood flow that's all congested. Obviously not moving 800 milliliters per second. In fact, in this, do you think this is delivering any groceries or taking out any trash? Is that delivering any oxygen or taking out the carbon dioxide? Okay, next. Now we're going to show you what excellent blood flow looks like. It's the same person, same place, exactly. Do I need to click? Nope, that's the same one. Need to go to the next one. Okay, that's it. Okay. So this is what our blood flow should look like. Okay, and as we age, unfortunately, our blood flow slows down. This pulsing movement that moves the blood flow through the capillaries, or not pulse-like, but this movement is occurring about 40, 50 times every 10 minutes when we're in our 20s and younger. But by age 60, it's occurring maybe 4 to 5 times. And if you have diabetes, it's slowing to as few as 1 to 2 times. So when you think about somebody with diabetes and you think about what is happening in their bodies from these high levels of blood sugar, and then they've got poor blood flow on top of it because they're getting older, and then it's not delivering the nutrients to the nerves, it's not removing the toxins, the metabolic and other toxins from the nerve cells, and so then we end up with neuropathy. So that's how, because it is a microvascular disease, diabetes affects our smallest places in our body. We have the smallest vessels. That's our eyes, our kidneys, and what we call our end organs. So to get this electromagnetic signaling, we need to walk at least 30 miles a day, ideally in barefoot grass, or we can use something that's called a Beamer medical device. And according to Dr. Klopp, it's the only device that can mimic nature and recreate vasal motion in the body. So it's a bioelectromagnetic energy regulation machine. It's a mat that you lay on 8 minutes twice a day to stimulate your blood flow. And NASA, because we can't go into outer space because there is no magnetic field up there, we can't continue our space exploration till they deal with this problem of not having stimulation to the capillaries. So they've actually combined with Beamer, and they're making spacesuits for the astronauts to wear in outer space so that they can continue to get the magnetic stimulation they need to the capillaries so they can do longer and longer space flights. Because we've got to remember, this is delivering the groceries and taking out the trash. Now we're going to get to the part that you know about, which is diet. And I only have about 4 more slides and we're done. So we have insulin resistance that happens from our weight gain. You may not know, but your brain is using 60 to 70% of your glucose, whether you're awake or asleep. So if you get up and you don't eat breakfast, by mid-morning, your brain is starving for sugar. So when you walk past that donut and you've just had breakfast, no problem. You walk past that donut and you haven't had breakfast, it's going to say, eat me or you will die, because your brain really believes it is. So breakfast is our most important meal of the day. And then another hormone that you probably have never heard about is called adiponectin. Adiponectin is a hormone produced by our fat cells, and it makes our insulin receptors sensitive to insulin so that we can get the sugar inside the blood. And when you gain weight, your adiponectin levels go down. This makes you more resistant to that insulin. So then your body kicks out more insulin, which causes you to gain weight. You gain weight, lowers your adiponectin, reduces your insulin sensitivity. Your body has to kick out more insulin, trying to overcome the insulin resistance. The high levels of circulating insulin increases your weight gain, and you get into this terrible, vicious cycle. There are some foods and some medicinal mushrooms that you can take that can help increase your adiponectin, but the best way to lose weight is to lose weight. The best way to raise your adiponectin levels. And that's why your blood sugar will get better. You know, these people on, that weight loss show, and by the time they've lost even 30, 40 pounds, they're off their insulin medicines. They're doing well because their adiponectin is kicking back in and making their bodies more insulin. And I've had so many people that by changes in diet and doing all of these things that we have actually reversed their diabetes. And we now know beta cells that produce insulin can regenerate. So these are food groups. I've got something that's over there, and I got some of these. But basically, what you do is that you want to eat everything from here over. So I have this little thing, and I just tell you, bend this over. Don't eat your high glycemic carbs, but eat your low glycemic, your healthy protein, your healthy fats, and as much fiber as you can get, because fiber slows down how fast your carbohydrates turn into sugar. But the thing is, these are our happy foods. If we didn't ever get any, we wouldn't feel good. So I have my people, I don't have them count all this stuff. I just say you get 2 a day. You get 2 servings a day from this list, and that's it. So you can have, biscuits in the morning, sandwich at lunch, pizza at dinner. You just can't have them all in the same day. Today you get a biscuit. Tomorrow you get a sandwich. And the next day you get a piece of pizza with a lot of salad on the side. But you can't have them all in one day. Absolute max of 2 high glycemic carbs. And I've got some of those over there if you just want to take it home. And I get people losing as much as 40 to 50 pounds in 6 months just by folding this over and following this diet. And it's super and easy because I don't know what people like to eat. I just want them eating the right categories of foods. So I also love this. I want you to be a nutritarian. I want you to choose your food based on their nutrient content. If it has no nutrition, don't eat it. Soda pop has no nutrition. Don't eat it. If nature made it, eat it. If God made it as food, eat it. If humans made it, you better watch out. Health of our body starts in our cells. And finally, our energy levels are starving in our cells. They're sick because they're out of power. And the electrical charge of our cells should be 70 to 90 millivolts. And you're going to increase that by exercise and other things I've talked about. And when our energy levels drop, we're going to get illness. And if they drop enough, any cell that has a voltage of 15 to 20 millivolts is going to become cancerous. So we've got to keep our energy levels up, because we have more electrical impulses in our brain in one human brain than all the phones in the entire world. So the problem isn't not enough energy, it's not using the energy that we have properly. So the 5 things that you need to do in summary are, we've got to optimize our circulation, we've got to exercise, we've got to eat a nutrient-rich diet, we've got to detoxify, and we've got to reduce our stress. Because we all end up somewhere. Are we going to end up somewhere on purpose? When you know your purpose and you live your purpose, you're going to make the right decisions about what you should do. And that's it. So, and I say, if you didn't get a sheet, you can come back here and sign up, and I'll get you one.
You guys have questions?
Yeah.
My husband's the cook in my family, and he's a great cook. But he likes rice. And I didn't see rice on your little chart.
Rice is a grain. It's a high glycemic carb. The more fiber you eat in it, anything that you eat that has the fiber is going to slow down how fast it turns to sugar. So brown rice is going to be much, much better. White rice should be totally off.
Totally off. Yeah, I suspect.
Plus, it's been processed. It has chemicals. You don't want it. And they even add folic acid to it, which isn't good either.
I suspected as much, but now thank you for a professional opinion.
And we're not talking natural folate that you get from green leafies. We're talking folic acid, the chemical that they add to food. Yeah.
You talk about breads. What about whole grain bread? Is it different?
Whole grain bread is better because our body digests carbs, then protein, then fat, then fiber. So the higher fiber there is in your carbohydrate, you don't have to add any fiber to beans or broccoli or spinach. The fiber is already there, as much fiber as you could want. But when you eat bread, you can eat it with fiber or without. That's your choice. You can eat rice with fiber or without. So any high glycemic carb that you're going to eat, you want to eat it in the highest fiber form you possibly can, so that that's going to slow it down. Carbs, proteins, fat, fiber. It's going to digest that last. In fact, you don't even digest it, right? Well, the soluble kind you can, but the insoluble kind just passes through and helps us go to the bathroom. Both kinds are really important, soluble fiber and insoluble fiber, because one makes us go and the other helps to heal the colon. So, and provide a great environment for healthy bacteria in your colon as well. Yeah.
First of all, I appreciate all this, except it's really depressing.
Didn't think you were at risk of diabetes, did you?
Well, actually, I am, because I have both my sisters who are diabetic, and I'm right in the middle. So it's kind of interesting.
But it's not genetic, it's epigenetic.
Yeah.
So you guys all came from the same moms, ate the same diet. Have the same.
The one that I was surprised about was the bananas and also grains, because you keep hearing about whole grains being good for you. And I assume
That's why you get 2 a day. You get two servings a day.
Okay, all right.
2 servings, which is,
the bananas
which
really
is a half a cup of a grain.
It's a fruit. I mean, I'm thinking most fruits
I know, but
are healthy.
they're starch. They're a starchy fruit, and they're much higher in carbohydrate. I didn't say you couldn't have one. You can have a banana today. That's one. That's one of your carbs. That's one of your high glycemic carbs. Just keep it at 2. Once you've had your 2, you're done for the day. Didn't eat fruits, vegetables, good meats and healthy fats. Healthy fats are so critically important. Our brain is made of fat and water. You've got to eat healthy fat. I'm a huge fan of avocado. Even though there's a lot of fat in it, it's healthy fat. It's the right kind of fat that our body needs. So, yeah.
What is your thought on ketogenic diets and low-carb diets?
I think it's good. With diabetics, you do have to be careful because a lot of them have problems with their kidneys, and if you load up their kidneys with too much protein, they're not going to do well because their kidneys are already having sluggish blood flow, and so.
Well, I know keto tends to focus more on the fat.
Yeah, with the fat burning. Well, I always think of the paleo diet and all that. Yeah. I mean, I just think everything should be much more balanced, and I think it's a little too much meat personally. But I just think we should mostly eat veggies, at least one. If you're a diabetic, probably 1 piece of fruit a day, because it is still pretty high in sugar. Fruit juice, never. No fruit juice ever for diabetics. We really probably shouldn't, any of us, unless we're doing it at home. We're, doing it in our juicer, and we're eating a little bit of the fiber that comes with it. But and the other thing is that everything that's a juice in America that's sold in a store has to be pasteurized. So since it's all been heated, it's destroyed the enzymes and changed the pH. So the orange juice that you get when you buy it in the container or whatever, it has been pasteurized, so it is more acidic than it needs to be, and it is, and the enzymes to digest and help use that sugar have been destroyed. So, I tell people, get that, because I know it's hard to do it, but then take 1 real orange, squeeze it, and pour that 1 real orange in with the other orange juice, and then you'll put the enzymes back in. You'll help balance the pH. The vitamin C is going to all be there, and it's not going to be from a chemical vitamin C. It's going to be from real vitamin C, which isn't one component of vitamin C, which is what ascorbic acid is, but it's going to have all 8 components of vitamin C so that your body can totally use it. Yeah.
Neuropathy is caused by a slowdown in what?
It happens because high levels of blood sugar wreak havoc with our microcirculation. It tears up the single cell lining, and you're getting little teeny hemorrhages and blockages and things in the microvascular area, and creating this inflammation that then spreads into our macro over time. So when you're messing up the capillaries and you're not getting good blood flow, then you're not taking nutrients to the cells so that they can be healthy. You're not taking oxygen to the cells so they can be healthy. And you're not removing the toxins, the metabolic, the lactic acid, things that need to come out of the cells, and the carbon dioxide is not getting out of the cells. So you get very, very unhealthy cells, especially unhealthy nerve cells, and an unhealthy nerve cell is going to, over time, lose its sensitivity. We call that, having numbness, create pain, burning, all the symptoms of neuropathy.
And there's no real answer to that except what is it called? The
Beamer
device?
The Beamer, or tremendous exercise. You have to exercise a lot. And exercising on a treadmill, you're actually there's metal between you and the earth interfering with that. So you probably have to go on the treadmill about 50 miles to get the same as 30 miles. So, and none of us who has time for any of that, right? But to optimize that circulation and keeping that microcirculation going at 800 milliliters, that's 8 centimeters per second. That's like going this much per second. I mean, that's fast. So.
Any others? Right.
I do have a question. I emailed you last night. I had a very tough weekend. My neighbor, single dad, went to the hospital with a heart attack and called me Thursday night and said, would I take care of the family and et cetera, et cetera. And he came home Sunday night. He's got diabetes and he's got heart conditions, obviously very much like this. And so yesterday I was trying to figure out what can I cook for him. Is there a cookbook out there that you recommend above all others?
There's lots of them. There's so much of this information out there. It's really great. But I don't have any particular one. I would grab that and just look on there and just don't feed him anything on the high glycemic list. Feed him the stuff on the rest of it. And anything, and the more fiber you can get in your diet, the better. It's healthy for your colon, and it's healthy for slowing down how fast your carbohydrates turn to sugar. So then you got time to exercise and burn off that sugar so you can keep your sugar levels normal.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Now don't leave, Vicki, don't leave. We have a couple of jobs for you. Hold on one second.
Okay.
First is we donate books to a local elementary school. And we put a book plate in there in your honor. So here's a copy of the book plate that is going to go in a book that we're going to donate. So that's yours to keep.
That's awesome.
And then we do a little drawing here. So I'd like you to pick one of these tickets. You're going to make somebody hopefully kind of happy. And then read the last three.
658.
658.
All right.
Oh. So Byron gets $10 in lunch money.
Oh.
And then could win the big pot.
Oh, I get pick again? Oh.
So pull out 2 marbles and don't peek.
2 marbles?
Yep.
Okay.
No.
Was they supposed to be a certain color or something?
Blue would have been better.
Oh, blue would have been better. Okay. Thank you, guys. You guys were a great audience.
Okay.
You can come back over there if you want to ask me any questions.
Okay, could y'all rise and join me in the 4-way test? For all the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Do good, have fun.